All right, testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. All right, everyone. Your host, Cy Smith, coming to you on a Blue Wednesday. Every Wednesday is Economic Day, and so we are going to be bringing to you guys someone from the southern part of the United States of America who is running a business that is definitely in need, especially in this day and era that we're living in. Dr. Jackson should be joining us here shortly. And I just want to give you guys a little bit background, and he'll fill in the areas that I may miss. But I met Dr. Jackson in Atlanta probably 5 years ago, before COVID, and this brother was sharp then, and I can only imagine how he's gotten sharper since then. But the purpose of our conversation is going to be centered around church security, and I can only imagine with all the things that's happening, especially now from a religious standpoint, that this is a needed topic. To all my pastors who may watch this, church members who maybe um, have the ear of the church leadership, this video will be very important to make sure that you guys share that with them, because what we want to make sure people have is the information. What you do with the information is always your choice, but at least you have the insight. And Dr. Jackson is going to provide us with where he's coming from. So while we're waiting on Dr. Jackson to get on, I want to talk about the National Block Club University, which is the organization that God allowed me to create. And so the purpose of it is around the violence that we see in our neighborhoods all over Black America. And it's something that's dear to my heart. Um, Literally, our 30th year is coming up on November 20th, 1994. So this November 20th will make 30 years. And what I've seen in those 3 decades is I've seen the violence in our communities go from the crack epidemic and crackheads, people who were addicted to crack, and how the society demonized the people who were essentially drug abusers, to an era where people are now being uh, helped, and even the fire department and police are going out with drugs that help people who are on drugs. Whereas back in the 90s, when I first started, it was lock them up, even with a small amount. And it was the lock them up, throw away the key type scenario. So anyway, we're in this era now where it's more sympathy for the drug addicted versus the incarceration of them. But what this has led us to now is kind of a normalization where it's okay. And I think we should not take that position that abusing drugs is okay. It's even rapped about, it's sung about. At award shows, they joke about it. And certain things is just not a joking matter. So National Block Club University is door to door, block to block. Our philosophy is making sure we meet every single person. And when we meet every single person, the goal is to get them linked in with people who are in that same arena. So if you're in business, we go link you with other business people so that business wise, we can help reduce the violence with creating jobs. If you're into protesting and accountability, we'll link you with other people who's into protesting and accountability, and then you guys can go and hold people accountable. If you're into safety and security, we'll link you with other safety and security people so that you can go out and make sure our perimeters are covered. If you're into education, we link you with other people who's in education, and let's go out and make sure that the dropout rate, goes down. If you're into construction, let's link you with other people in construction so that now you guys can go out and create jobs that way. If you're into race relations and looking at the systemic and systematic racism that's affecting the violence, that's making it easy for violence to have a foothold. Okay, sorry about that. So I left off on racism. Dr. Jackson just called. So I'm gonna finish the last two, and then I'm gonna clip this video, and I'm gonna come back in 15 minutes, and we're gonna do the interview. But I want to finish this message here, and I can just change the title to National Black Club Universities, which is what I'm talking about so far. So again, racism, that's what we can link people together who are possibly interracially married, things of that nature, biracial children. So that way we can make sure in that regard, we utilizing what they bring to the table, their perspective to make our neighborhoods safer. Then dealing with people who's into food, and gardening and farming, bringing those people together because those are job creators for people who love being out in nature. Then the final one is the legal, and that's a big part of it. A lot of these brothers getting out of jail are ex-offenders, and they have, this stigma hanging over their head, and that's where our people that's in the legal field can help uh, take away that stigma and help them find ways to get reinstated back into society, functional society. So what I just named to you, we call it teams 1 through 8. So I went through each of those teams with what National Black Club University does and how each of these 8 teams make our community stronger and safer when we can link people together who's in each of those fields. So I went through business, accountability, safety. I went through education, went through construction, race relations, food, and then legal. And that's what we do all over the country. Behind me is the South Africa flag. Over here is the Djibouti flag, because today is South Africa Day, every third Wednesday of the month. Also, our nurses, and then all month long, we're on tour inside of Djibouti in Africa, which is the eastern part of the continent. All right, so my number is area code 312-405-8844. That's 312-405-8844. So Dr. Jackson and this intro is going to be applicable in 15 minutes.